Who is John Lennon? John Winston Ono Lennon, born on 9 October 1940 and died on 8 December 1980, was an English singer, songwriter and musician who gained worldwide fame as the founder, co-songwriter, co-lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist of the Beatles. His work included music, writing, drawings and film. His songwriting partnership with Paul McCartney remains the most successful in history. Born in Liverpool, Lennon became involved in the skiffle craze as a teenager. In 1956, he formed the Quarrymen, which evolved into the Beatles in 1960. Sometimes called the Smart Beatle, Lennon initially was the group's de facto leader, a role he gradually ceded to McCartney. Through his songwriting in the Beatles, he embraced myriad musical influences, initially writing and co-writing rock and pop-oriented hit songs in the band's early years, then later incorporating experimental elements into his compositions in the latter half of the Beatles' career as his songs became known for their increasing innovation. Lennon soon expanded his work into other media by participating in numerous films, including How I Won the War, and authoring in his own right and A Spaniard in the Works, both collections of nonsense writings and line drawings. Starting with All You Need Is Love, his songs were adopted as anthems by the anti-war movement and the larger counterculture of the 1960s. In 1969, he started the Plastic Ono Band with his second wife, multimedia artist Yoko Ono, held the 2-week-long anti-war demonstration Bed-Ins for Peace and left the Beatles to embark on a solo career. Between 1968 and 1972, Lennon and Ono collaborated on many works, including a trilogy of avant-garde albums, several more films, his solo debut John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band and the international top 10 singles, Give Peace a Chance, Instant Karma, Imagine, and Happy Xmas, War is Over. Moving to New York City in 1971, his criticism of the Vietnam War resulted in a 3-year deportation attempt by the Nixon administration. Lennon and Ono separated from 1973 to 1975, during which time he produced Harry Nilsson's album Pussycats. He also had chart-topping collaborations with Elton John, Whatever Gets You Through the Night, and David Bowie, Fame. Following a 5-year hiatus, Lennon returned to music in 1980 with the Ono collaboration Double Fantasy. He was murdered by a Beatles fan, Mark David Chapman, 3 weeks after the album's release. As a performer, writer or co-writer, Lennon had 25 #1 singles in the Billboard Hot 100 chart. Double Fantasy, his second best-selling non-Beatles album, won the 1981 Grammy Award for Album of the Year. That year, he won the Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music. In 2002, Lennon was voted 8th in a BBC History poll of the 100 Greatest Britons. Rolling Stone ranked him the 5th greatest singer and 38th greatest artist of all time. He was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, in 1997, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, twice, as a member of the Beatles in 1988 and as a solo artist in 1994. Top 50 quotes by John Lennon. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us. And the world will live as one. Count your age by friends, not years. Count your life by smiles, not tears. There are 2 basic motivating forces, fear and love. When we are afraid, we pull back from life. When we are in love, we open to all that life has to offer with passion, excitement, and acceptance. We need to learn to love ourselves first, in all our glory and our imperfections. If we cannot love ourselves, we cannot fully open to our ability to love others or our potential to create. Evolution and all hopes for a better world rest in the fearlessness and open-hearted vision of people who embrace life. I believe in everything until it's disproved. So I believe in fairies, the myths, dragons. It all exists, even if it's in your mind. Who's to say that dreams and nightmares aren't as real as the here and now? When I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wrote down, happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life. As usual, there is a great woman behind every idiot. The more I see, the less I know for sure. A dream you dream alone is only a dream. A dream you dream together is reality. One thing you can't hide, is when you're crippled inside. There's nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. I believe in God, but not as one thing, not as an old man in the sky. I believe that what people call God is something in all of us. I believe that what Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and all the rest said was right. It's just that the translations have gone wrong. If everyone demanded peace instead of another television set, then there'd be peace. Living is easy with eyes closed. Reality leaves a lot to the imagination. If someone thinks that peace and love are just a cliché that must have been left behind in the 60s, that's a problem. Peace and love are eternal. When you're drowning you don't think, I would be incredibly pleased if someone would notice I'm drowning and come and rescue me. You just scream. It's weird not to be weird. I'm not going to change the way I look or the way I feel to conform to anything. I've always been a freak. So I've been a freak all my life and I have to live with that, you know. I'm one of those people. If being an egomaniac means I believe in what I do and in my art or music, then in that respect you can call me that. I believe in what I do, and I'll say it. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. For those of you in the cheap seats, I'd like y'all to clap your hands to this one. The rest of you can just rattle your jewelry. War is over. If you want it. Limitless undying love which shines around me like a million suns, it calls me on and on across the universe. I'm not afraid of death because I don't believe in it. It's just getting out of one car and into another. When you do something noble and beautiful and nobody noticed, do not be sad. For the sun every morning is a beautiful spectacle and yet most of the audience still sleeps. We all shine on. Like the moon and the stars and the sun. We all shine on. Come on and on and on. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people, living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer. But I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us. And the world will be as one. Nothing is real. God is a concept by which we measure our pain. I get by with a little help from my friends. Love is a promise. Love is a souvenir. Once given, never forgotten. Never let it disappear. How can I go forward when I don't know which way I'm facing? Love is a flower, you got to let it grow. Whatever gets you through the night. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither wildly as they slip away across the univers. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Sounds of laughter, shades of love are ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. Limitless undying love which shines around me like a million suns, and calls me on and on across the universe. The more real you get, the more unreal the world gets. Part of me suspects that I'm a loser, and the other part of me thinks I'm God Almighty. You don't need anybody to tell you who you are or what you are. You are what you are. Music is everybody's business. It's only the publishers who think people own it. We live in a world where we have to hide to make love, while violence is practiced in broad daylight. There are places I'll remember. All my life, though some have changed. Some forever, not for better. Some have gone and some remain. All these places have their moments. With lovers and friends I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life I've loved them all. Remember to let her into your heart. Everything is clearer when you're in love. Being honest may not get you a lot of friends, but it'll always get you the right ones. It matters not who you love, where you love, why you love, when you love or how you love. It matters only that you love. My role in society, or any artist's or poet's role, is to try and express what we all feel. Not to tell people how to feel. Not as a preacher, not as a leader, but as a reflection of us all. Love is like a precious plant. You can't just accept it and leave it in the cupboard or just think it's going to get on by itself. You've got to keep on watering it. You've got to really look after it and nurture it. The thing the 60s did was to show us the possibilities and the responsibility that we all had. It wasn't the answer. It just gave us a glimpse of the possibility. I am he as you are me, and we are all together. Time wounds, all heals.